Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 6:30 p.m., April 9th, 2018. At this time, I call the City Council, City of Grantville, into open session. And I'd like to call on Mr. Mallory to lead us in the invocation. If you could all stand for that. And in conclusion, if you remain standing, join me in the pledge.
Let's look for a prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. You bless us with, Father. We thank you for giving us life, health, and strength. We thank you for blessing our city and watching over our city and keeping us from harm's way. Father, we pray for your presence to be felt here this evening. This meeting, Father, we pray. We look to you for guidance in our decisions. Come together in unity, Father. We pray for guidance for our mayor, our council, our city attorney, our city manager. We pray you bless each one that came this way tonight. Bless their families and their homes. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, the first order of business will be the approval of the agenda. Have a motion to accept the agenda as published.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. Have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business will be approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, March 26, 2018. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as published?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business will be a proclamation for National Day of Prayer. Whereas among our nation's great strengths are the freedoms we hold dear, including the freedom of exercise our faith freely, and for many Americans, prayer is an essential act of worship and a daily discipline. And whereas today and every day prayer will be said for comfort for those who mourn, healing for those who are sick, protection for those who are in harm's way, and strength for those who lead today and every day. Forgiveness and reconciliation will be sought through prayer across our country. Americans give thanks for our many blessings, including the freedom to pray as our conscience dictates. And whereas, as we give thanks for our liberties, we must never forget those around the world, including Americans who are being held or persecuted because of their convictions. Let us remember all prisoners of conscience today, whatever their faith and belief and whatever they are held. Let us continue to take every action within our power to secure their release, and let us carry forward our nation's tradition of religious liberty, which protects Americans' right to pray and to practice our faith as we see fit. Now, therefore, I, Doug Jewell, Mayor of the City of Grantville, do hereby proclaim May 3rd, 2018 as the National Day of Prayer in the City of Grantville. And I invite all the citizens of our community to give thanks in accordance with their own faiths and consciences for our many freedoms and blessings. And I join all people of faith in asking for God's continued guidance, mercy, and protection. And witness whereof I have set my hand this 9th day of April in the year of our Lord 2018. Next order of business will be a proclamation for Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week. Whereas from the beginning of this nation and city, Law enforcement officers have played an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms which are guaranteed by the Constitution and protected the lives and property of our citizens. Whereas through constant application of new procedures, techniques, and technology, law enforcement officers are becoming more efficient in their enforcement of our laws. Where it is important that our citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of the police department and the necessity for cooperating with them in maintaining law and order. Whereas it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the devoted, dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers and for contributions they have made to the security and well-being of our citizens. Now therefore, I, Doug Jewell, Mayor of the City of Grantville, do hereby designate May 15, 2018 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those peace officers who fought through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives, or have become disabled in performance of duty. Further, I, Doug Jewell, Mayor of Grantville, do hereby designate May 15th through May 21st of 2018 as Police Week in recognition of the services given by the men and women who night and day protect us through enforcement of our laws. Okay, next order of business be new business authorization to sign a letter of MEAG Power regarding the transfer of funds.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I received this letter from our regional manager, Stuart Jones. And what it entails is basically an error on the behalf of MEAG. When they were working on their funds, they took money from the city's immediate tax restricted reserve fund debt account, and it should not have done that. So they are short in that fund by $14.46, and they are asking for authorization to withdraw that money from the City of Grantville's short-term flexible municipal competitive trust account. And frankly, I didn't understand it, so I asked Stuart Jones the question, why are they doing this transfer from the municipal competitive trust? And I will read his email in response. Grantville's money in the reserve-funded debt account, from which they took money, is from the bond proceeds collected over the years. Held under MEAG Power's name, it earned interest over time and then was used with the approval of the bondholders to establish the Municipal Competitive Trust in 1999. When we all thought electric retail deregulation was imminent, the bondholders agreed to the establishment of the Municipal Competitive Trust so the participants could have access to the funds to defray any stranded costs primarily associated with Vogel Units number 1 and 2. When key customers were cherry-picked from the participants' service areas. He goes on to say, as you know, the deregulation never occurred, and subsequently the money distributions from the Municipal Competitive Trust began in 2009. That was the money we had in the reserve-funded debt account. So, with that explanation, I recommend approval of this transfer of approximately $14.46 to true up the balance in the city's intermediate tax restricted reserve fund debt account. Basically, they're both our monies, but because of MEAG accounting, they took a little too much from Grantville's immediate tax restricted reserve fund debt account. So I recommend that we approve the transfer of approximately $14.46.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boucher. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation and the report of the city manager. What's the will of council?
Make a motion to authorize the signing of the letter from MEAG.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, do you have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business, discussion and decision on professional services agreement with Hanthorn Consulting Group LLC for grant writing services. Mr. Boucher.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This evolved from our strategic planning session. Councilmember King gave me an indication that the Georgia nonprofit group did grant writing services, so I went to them with a similar contract that had been approved by the city attorney and asked them for grant writing services. They in turn gave me Hanthorn Consulting Group LLC to write grants for on behalf of the city of Grantville. Now, we talked about this at the strategic planning session, and one thing that was pointed out that we needed a performance standard of that we would get money on a return of our investment. This is an investment, a one-year contract, $3,000 a month of $36,000. And we got the performance standard that they would strive to reach $75,000 of income during the term of the agreement, excluding local maintenance improvement grant monies. So I give it to you for your consideration. It certainly is another avenue we can use to leverage our money, but it certainly is in your discretion whether we want to hire a professional grant writing group. As you will see, the resumes that I put in the packet are the ones who would be doing the grant writing. It would be Mr. Hanthorn, Dennis Hanthorn, and Mr. Blitz. And as you can see from their experience, especially Mr. Blitz, he certainly has a track record of grant writing.
Is that all we have?
Yes, sir.
All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the report and recommendation of the city manager. Do I have a motion to accept or reject the manager's recommendation?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the city manager's recommendation.
Do I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any questions or discussion? Carrying on, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. The next order of business is discussion and decision on changing our agent for health insurance coverage from J. Smith Lanier to Northwestern Benefit, a company headquartered in Atlanta. Again, Mr. Boucher, you want to elaborate?
Yes, sir. First, we have to understand we do not have a contract with J. Smith Lanier. They work as an insurance broker to find us health insurance. Our present agent, J. Smith Lanier, for health insurance coverage was sold to Mark McLennan Agency, LLC, a New York company. That was announced on July the 13th, 2018. As I said in my memo, frankly, during my tenure, I have heard little, if anything, from J. Smith Lanier in the way of customer service for our employees. Consequently, I searched for another agent that would provide enhanced customer service to our employees that would be local, where our employees could call with questions as to their benefits, as to their coverage, and any disputes that they might have. And this certainly arose with the Piedmont Medical Center fiasco with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross Blue Shield is our coverage. And during this fiasco, I certainly thought we ought to hear something from them because we're one of their clients. Well, we didn't. So I recommend that we change our agent for health insurance coverage to Northwest Benefit. As I said, a local company, as local as you can get, headquartered in Atlanta. They can offer the same health insurance plan that we presently have with enhanced customer service. They have, or will have, if we go with them, a designated benefit services specialist that our employees can call up and ask those questions, and additional support for our employees. I have included in the agenda package, one, the announcement of the selling of J. Smith Lanier. And then I've also included a letter that came out from Northwestern Benefit to their clients, where they talk about the contract between Blue Shield and Blue Cross and Piedmont Healthcare to include Piedmont Clinic Physician Services, and it tells you what to do. They, in fact, enclosed a tradition assistance request, continuation of care coverage request to all their clients. So if anybody had an ongoing problem with Piedmont Healthcare, they could call their benefit specialist and get it resolved, or at least get answers about it. I've also included what Northwestern Benefit talks about, their benefit team, their benefit specialist, and although the picture didn't come out, they gave an individual who was our benefit specialist. They talk about benefit administration, COBRA, enrollment audits. It just appears to me to be a more responsive, customer service-based organization than J. Smith Lanier, and especially now that J. Smith Lanier has been sold to a New York company. So I recommend that we switch agents and the mayor be given authority to send an email to that effect to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the report of the city manager. Do I have a motion to accept or reject his recommendation?
You know, I'm still learning, Doug, but I don't understand why can't we discuss things before we vote on them?
We have to have a motion on this, the way the.
I understand it's the rules of business and all that, but I mean, we vote on stuff and then it's offered for discussion, and I just thought the discussion ought to come before the vote.
Actually, we don't vote, we get a motion in a second, but then we discuss it before we file.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to accept or reject the recommendation?
I'll make a motion to accept and get it to discussion.
We have a motion to accept the recommendation. Have a second?
A second?
Have a motion and a second. We have questions or discussion. I'm happy to time it.
Yeah, I just, it's not gonna be any more expensive than what we already have.
No. What J. Smith Lanier does, they go out and they shop our insurance coverage. In fact, what they do is go to Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I have the current policy in front of me. They went out or Blue Cross Blue Shield responded on October the 29th with our plan, and our plan takes effect on the first day of January 2018. So it's in effect. What we're just doing is switching agents to be our insurance broker. But they can offer the same plan.
With better service, basically, is what you.
Correct.
I'm not doubting you, I'm just asking questions.
No, I'm glad that you do. Our insurance broker goes out and looks for the best plan. Our current plan is a non-affordable care plan renewal, and the premium went out by 6%. That was the exact question that I asked Northwestern Benefit, that what is the difference between them and J. Smith Lanier? And they said basically what you said. They can get the same plan, but they can offer better customer service. And I think the email that they sent to their clients in the 1st of April, I think, is an indication that they provide better service. Plus, they have, or will have, if we switch agencies, a designated benefit specialist for the city of Grantville.
Any further discussion or questions? The only question I have is, have you looked at the contract, had an opportunity to look at it?
Well, there really isn't a contract. That was the question I had for the city manager. I called him today to, in preparation for the meeting tonight, to say, you know, is there a contractual obligation that we have to J. Smith Lanier that we would be violating by changing? And he indicated that there is no contract with them, and I don't see any contract document with Northwest Benefits. My understanding is it simply would be a matter of notifying Blue Cross Blue Shield who your agent of record is going to be.
All right, any further?
So if that's the case, then there shouldn't be any issue with that.
Okay. No further discussion, you've heard the recommendation. I'm sorry, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting the recommendation, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered.
And sir, I hope that included authorization for the mayor to sign the letter.
Presumed to be.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. Next order of business, discussion and decision on a request for the city co-sponsor of the 3rd annual Grantville Chili and Blues Festival. Mr. Reacher?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I just discussed this earlier. with Miss Berry. I got the letter, and frankly, in reality, this is not a request to co-sponsor, but a request to waive fees. When you read the letter, we're asking for city co-sponsorship to cover the expense of police services for security and crowd control, public works services for barricades and trash containers, and use of recreation division tables and chairs. Goes on to say, proceeds from the sale of vendor spaces and souvenirs will provide funding for all other necessary expenses for the festival, and will again benefit charitable veterans organizations that take care of the needs of our outstanding patriotic heroes. So it is up to the discretion of the mayor and city council whether they want to waive fees in this case. We have not done that previously. For example, when we had the market, or pardon me, the Grand Floyd's change, the young lady came forward and said that's going to be on May the 12th, 2018, and we approved it on March 26th, 2018. There was no waiver of fees. So, if we're going to do that, and we get into the co-sponsorship, I think that is sort of a slippery slope, because then we're going to be having to account for all of the other proceeds to see if those expenses could be covered from the proceeds. And it's my recollection that state law prohibits that. Certainly would be making a charitable contribution. Now, we could enter into a service contract to waive fees, but again, that would mean that we would in fact be a co-sponsor, and everything would have to be run through city accounting. That's it, sir.
Before I call for council to make a motion or not, similar last year, they came before. My recollection, there might have been some legal reason that we shouldn't or couldn't. Would you have any advice?
Well, certainly, as the city manager said, there is a general prohibition in the Georgia Constitution against municipalities granting any donation or gratuity or forgiving any debt or obligation owing to the public. So you've got a general prohibition against that. As the city manager said, I think generally what that constitutional provision envisions is that if public monies are being given to someone, that's done in exchange for receiving something. You don't, that cities and counties and the state do not have the authority under Georgia law to give public money to an individual or an entity and not get something back for it. So you can't just make a donation. The same would apply. The city couldn't make a donation to the Red Cross or the Salvation Army. There are even cases in case law in Georgia that where cities have made donations to chambers of commerce and other entities like that, and it's been found to be in violation of this provision. So if the city spends money, you got to get something for value for that money that you're spending. So there is that general prohibition in the Georgia Constitution. The other issue, as the city manager has addressed, is the fact that you have other entities that have requested special events permits, you have a set fee schedule, and those entities have requested a special events permit, and it paid the fees required by the ordinance. You run into an equal protection issue potentially if you, for instance, decided to do this, and then, as the example the city manager gave, the lady who was at your, I think, last meeting, she came back to the next meeting and said, well, I'd like for you to do that for me too, waive the fees, and you said no, then how do you distinguish between what you did for one group, doing it for one group, and not doing it for her? So I think there are certainly a couple of legal issues that need to be given strong consideration in making your decision. It's nothing, to the work or the purposes of the event, but it's just a matter of what the city legally can do.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And city manager. What's the will of the council on the request? That motion to
Mr. Mayor, I believe in my heart of heart, we need to table this and ponder it a while longer. Because we don't want to open the door that someone could say and verify that we are showing favoritism to one versus another. I personally think that we need to table this and discuss it.
Shall I accept your motion to table it?
Yes, please accept my motion to table.
I have a motion to table, I have a second to table it. I have a motion or second to table any action on the request.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I don't see any sense.
Before you start, I had a question. You speak into your microphone so that people can hear you back there.
Mr. Mayor, as a city manager and a city attorney have told us, we're being asked to do something that is against the law. I don't see where tabling this does any good. Let's just have the guts to stand up and say, I'm sorry, the answer is no. We cannot do this legally, so it will not happen. Why can't we make a decision? So I would move that we refuse this request.
That's, if you're trying to make a motion, we have to go through whether she will withdraw and he will withdraw his second.
Well, I don't feel led to withdraw my motion because I feel like it's, we need to talk about it and hopefully reach a decision. I understand what our manager and lawyer have said, and fees were not waived for market day. There's no harm in what's wrong with looking at the situation to see what can be corrected or what stands as it is. So at this point, I wish not to withdraw my motion.
Okay. We'll go forward with the motion. All in favor of the motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So basically, the lady that was in our last meeting and asked for the special event permit, we're about to handle this in two different ways, is that right? I mean, it's not equal, is that the way I understand it?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that, and that everybody was clear. We're about to ask to do for one that we're not gonna do for the other.
Yeah. I apologize, but
excuse me, with it, not that I ain't in favor of the chili and blue.
No.
Don't nobody misunderstand that, I'm just, you got to be fair to everybody.
We gotta do it right now.
That's right.
Yeah, my intent for the second was to further discuss with Mr. and Miss Berry as far as the totality of what they exactly wanted to do. It wasn't necessarily to blackball or backbone by any means Mr. King. But that was my intent in the second, but if this is the direction that we're doing for one and not doing for the other, I withdraw my second.
Yeah, I'll turn to the legal counsel, they have guidance on how to handle it.
Well, I think if he's withdrawn his second, then you got a motion without a second at this point unless somebody else seconds it.
All right. Do we again call for a second? Hearing none, motion died for second. Do I have a motion to either approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we disapprove the waiving of fees and such for the Chili and Blues Festival.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to disapprove the request. Any further discussion or question? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. The next order of business will be discussion and decision on canceling the city council meeting on Monday, May 28, 2018, due to it falling on Memorial Day holiday. Mr. Breshaver, you care to elaborate, or is that pretty self-explanatory?
Memorial Day happens to fall on the day we normally have our regularly scheduled meeting. If necessary, we have business, we can always call a special meeting, but it is our recommendation that at this time we cancel the meeting on Monday, May the 28th, 2018, due to it being the Memorial Day holiday.
Okay. All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of city manager. Do I have a motion to accept his recommendation or reject?
Make a motion to accept.
I have a motion to accept the recommendation and cancel the May 28, 2018 regular council meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business will be citizens' comments. Do you have any over there?
I just had that one.
Okay, the first one will be Mr. Jim Sells.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Alan, first time I've been up here since you've been on board. Welcome. I've got a very serious problem, and my problem is ultimately now with the council. I need your help. 16 Main Street, the big yellow building on downtown that the roof I've been working on. I took 80% of downtown after foreclosure, after it sat for 3 years, nobody wanted it. And efforts to really put it to good use and get a financial return on my investment has been extremely difficult. Not non-existent, but very difficult. But the downtown area is very valuable to the community, it's valuable to me. And I'm in a serious predicament here, and I need the council's help. I had an emergency roof leak. I mean, a full-blown emergency. We were gonna lose our pharmacy, we were gonna lose the apartment, we were gonna lose everything. So I had to do what I had to do to go to work on this. So I pulled a permit, put carpenters on the roof that had been building houses and building things for 35 years, experts that know what they're doing. I was stopped, I didn't have the HPC permission, and then I was stopped for an inappropriate building permit by the building department. I got HPC approval to go forward, and then the building inspector was very concerned about what I was doing, but of course he was standing on the ground looking up 30 feet, and once I got him on the roof, he said, "Oh, okay, I see what you're doing now. But let's go ahead and have an engineer sign off on this." May I approach and pass this out, please? So I did just that. So the building inspector would be covered, so the city would be covered. I hired a licensed, an educated, licensed, qualified inspector to go up on that roof and deem it safe and appropriate. I've done my part. The community needs me to finish that roof. I need to finish that roof. Then, after doing that, then I'm told, well, we want engineered drawings. I don't know what you know about engineered drawings, but you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars on a building that size. And who do we need engineered drawings for? I mean, this inspector is way qualified than any requirements for a building inspector, and he says okay. And I'm here trying to salvage downtown with very little income to help me. All the buildings downtown need work. You set the precedent here, and you're telling us that it's going to be extremely difficult to get anybody to go to work on those roofs downtown. At some point, you've got to say, well, to stop the loss here, what are the value of the bricks if we demolish it? So we can blame Safe Built. You hired Safe Built. Safe Built, we can blame them all day. They work for you. Heard County fired Safe Built after they hired them because they couldn't get anything done because of the expense. And I'm telling you, downtown's at risk. I've hired an engineer, he signed off, and I need some help here. I want to finish that building, and I don't want to throw in another bunch of thousands of dollars and set a precedent so I can't go to work on the next buildings. All along there, I own about 90% of downtown. I'm the investor trying to keep it going, and I'm asking for the council's help. And the GED, I have provided for over 3 years. A room in that building, electricity, Wi-Fi, whatever they needed. That's just part of it. The pharmacy's in that building too. I'm hoping I get some relief. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And Shelley?
Before we get started, I want to thank Jim for letting me use that building. Jim, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Because over 40 people have gotten their GED since the program started, and over 200 have gone through and gotten help in ways that could not be done without that program. So thank you. Now, on another note, this is National Library Week. I don't know if you know that, but we have an excellent library. And I am your member of the library board for Coweta County for District 2. I would like to ask that tomorrow you either go by and see our librarians, or and take them something. I would like for you to write them a note, because it's National Library Workers' Day tomorrow. So I'm gonna give you a card. You can write them a note, you can either drop it in their box, or you can go in there and talk to them, because we have the best library in the county. Okay? Okay. So please do that. Next thing is Thursday night. Some of you were there, but Al Boucher came and spoke, and I had a certificate for him. He was our guest speaker. He told us how the city's coming together and working together. So I would like to present him with a certificate, since we were very busy at that meeting. Would you come, please, and accept your certificate? Thank you for talking about the people and the community and how we can work.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you very much. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
all right. You want a picture?
Yes.
Come here, excuse me, Mr. Boucher.
Calendar.
1, 2.
I'll share. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
You gotta share that, Al, I help.
I'm sorry, sir.
You gotta share that, I help.
Well, that's true, sir.
Okay, and the other person is Ruby Hines. She planned and helped organize the tribute to Barbara Tucker Memorial Day, and I thought it was a great success, so thank you for letting the Kiwanis be a part of that. Ruby, you can please come get your certificate.
But we don't need to take a picture.
And if you don't know, Ruby was one of the founding members, as well as myself, of the Grantville Kiwanis. So continue to do a lot of things for the community.
Sorry, we're gonna take it.
The last thing I would like to say is I would like to invite you. You can purchase a ticket for our pancake breakfast. It's called Flapjack Fundraisers. It's at Applebee's in Union, the 21st of April, from 8 to 10. The tickets are $7 a piece. That fund helps go to fund our projects in the community. And if you don't know this, a lot of people in the audience are in Kiwanis, and we do excellent work in our community. So please join Kiwanis. If you need a ticket, you can see one of our members. I've got tickets tonight. Thank you for your time. I hope it didn't take over 3 minutes. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Shelley. Next order of business, city council comments.
Yeah, I just wanna say thank you, and, I wanted to make a comment. Sometimes my wife says I don't come across like I ought to sometimes. But I sit here sometimes and ask our city manager questions about things. Because don't misunderstand why I'm doing that. I've got all the confidence in the world in him. I'm doing that for the sake of the general public. If I've got some questions and don't quite understand it, I want to ask it, because I assume that some of you might have the same questions, or somebody, I'm obligated to the people of Grantville. So I just want to make that clear. Sometimes I've asked some questions and it wasn't in doubt. It was for explanation more so than doubt. So. And I appreciate him, I appreciate what he's doing, I think we're lucky to have him, so. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. King?
Well, thank you to the folks that did come out. The two things that I have is I'm hopeful that our city manager and mayor can get together and cut through some red tape from Mr. Sells and try and get some of that roofing repaired downtown permanently. My second comment has to do with the Chilean Blues Festival, and I want those folks to know that I support their efforts and I support the Chilean Blues Festival 100%. At the same time, unfortunately, being seated up here, I have to pay attention to what the city manager and city attorney have to say about some of these subjects. And we are supporting that by either not charging the fees or reducing fees. Making a contribution like that is illegal. And I will not stand by and let the council do something that is illegal and will jeopardize others. So, with that explanation, I wish them the best of luck. And I'm sorry that the city can't support that. But other than that, that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So good to see everyone as always. Just wanted to say in reference to the Chili and Blues Festival, I don't ever want to anyone to have perceived that I am favoring one group over or another. That is not who I am. I understand perfectly what our Mr. Grieshaber was saying and what our lawyer was saying. All I was asking, if we could table it and talk about, look at the whole picture and see what if we could do in the future. We don't ever want to break the law doing anything, I don't, when it comes to this city. So that was my only reason for saying let's table it and ponder, because there may be others who will come with the same desire or something similar that the bearers have. So that was my reason for saying let's table this and talk about it. Sometimes it is good to just have a round table discussion about something and looking at the law as it is. And who knows? We may get a greater understanding than what we had previously. Again, thank you so much for coming, and I hope we will have volunteers to come out and assist with this gathering like we did with the other gatherings, and it will help to bring this great city together. I think that's our goal. All of our goals is for us to come together as a community and as a city, and really and truly be concerned about each other and what is going on in our city, because we are the one who makes up this city. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Keith.
Thank you all for coming out.
All right. All right, I also thank everybody for coming out. I think everybody up here is in favor of the Chili and Blues. It's just some things we can't do. And if there was a way of doing it, I think all of us would want to help in any way we can. And I will do whatever I can to help y'all out as an individual. So, again, thank everybody for coming out. Mr. Mallory, I'm so glad to see you. You have been missed.
Amen.
And your wife. But glad to see you back.
Glad to be back.
Thank you so much. All right. Mr. Grieshaber, you have anything?
I have nothing, sir, thank you.
How about Mr. Mitchell? You got anything?
No, sir.
Any reason to go into closed session?